On The Focus today, we look at the growing problem of plastic waste in the world's oceans. It's killing fish, sea mammals, seabirds, and other forms of marine life.
A team of American and Australian researchers estimates that about 8 million metric tons of plastic waste ended up in the oceans in 2010. 5 countries in Asia are the biggest sources of the waste. The researchers are calling for a serious international effort to change the way waste is managed. They say that otherwise, the amount of plastic debris in the oceans in the next decade could rise tenfold. People around the world are now trying to find solutions to this crucial problem.
A South Korean photojournalist is trying to increase public awareness of the issue. NHK World's Kim Chan-ju reports.
Those who love ocean got together seaside. Their mission is to clean up in the ocean. Park Soo-yeon is the organizer of this event. He does about 10 of these a year. He and some of his colleagues started the project in 2002.
The garbage piles up year after year. If you let it slide, even momentarily, it begins to build up again. Frequent collections are extremely important.
Government officials estimate more than 180,000 tons of waste is dumped into the ocean every year, but they can only clean up about half of it. This is Tongyeong, a port city in southern South Korea. Ocean waste has become a serious problem here. You can see styrofoam, PET bottles and plastic bags floating on the water surface. People in this fishing village complain that garbage flowing into the sea causes a lot of damage, particularly in the rainy season.
When the rainy season comes, so much household garbage flows into the sea. They pollute ocean and cause fish to die. It's terrible.
Government officials decided last year to allocate about $300 million to combat pollution in the ocean over the next 4 years. They say they'll deploy 19 new cleanup vessels. And they say they'll also urge people not to throw their waste into the sea.
If you look at where the garbage comes from, 70% is dumped by people from land. We have to start working to reduce the amount of garbage on the land through separate collection methods and through recycling policies.
On this day, Park and a team of volunteers picked up about 800 kilograms of garbage from the seabed.
We recovered all kinds of garbage, tents, plastic bottles.
Park says the government's efforts are a positive step, but he says they could do more to protect the oceans.
We're showing the recovered garbage to local people. It helps them understand what they throw away pollutes the ocean, and will continue to do this in the future.
Park hopes his event will change people's minds across the country, and that the public will start to stash their trash elsewhere.
Kim Chan-ju has been covering this issue for us. Well, she joins us again from our studio in Seoul. So Chan-ju, it seems like this problem of maritime waste has reached a critical point on the coast of South Korea. And, well, it could reach other countries depending on the ocean currents. So what are the officials in the countries in the region doing to tackle with this problem? What exactly are they doing?
Well, sure, officials from South Korea, Japan and China sat down together in April to talk about it. They came up with an action plan aimed at solving the problem. Officials from the 3 countries will carry out research and cooperation on maritime issues such as plastic waste. A young man from the Netherlands has come up with a plan to save the world's oceans from plastic waste. Please take a seat. Thank you. Bojan Slat is trying to rid the oceans of millions of tons of floating plastic. At 20 years old, he's already making a splash with his ambitious plan.
We've developed the world's first feasible method to clean up almost half the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is this swirling concentration of plastic in the ocean, in just 10 years' time.
Slat got the idea at the age of 16. He was diving in Greece and saw more garbage bags than fish. People around the world have been fighting against the currents trying to collect the waste. Their methods are slow and costly. Slat studied the 5 rotating currents called gyres. He invented a way to harness their power using floating barriers. The plastic moves along the barriers towards a platform where it can easily be retrieved. The booms are anchored to the seabed, but because they are not nets, marine life doesn't get trapped. What would be your motivation and strength that kept going in leading this project to the size that it is today?
A lot of people told me that it couldn't be done, and so in a way that was sort of an extra motivation to try and see if I could come up with a way in which it would be possible. And I would say that I'm a bit obsessed by nature. If I'm working on something, I don't do anything else.
While diving in Greece,
Slat's project gained attention at the global conference series TED Talks. The YouTube clip went viral with nearly 2 million hits.
Please, don't tell me we can't clean this up together.
The project raised more than $2 million in a little more than 3 months through crowdfunding. Slat now has a staff and works with volunteer scientists and engineers, and is the youngest recipient of the United Nations Top Environment Award. At a major Asian technology conference, he revealed the date and location of his first cleanup. Slat announced he'll deploy his system next spring to an island off Japan.
Inhabitants of Tsushima Island do their best to keep their coast clean by hand, but this is actually costing them $5 million each year. And because the cleanup array will place in front of the island will intercept part of that debris, costs will likely be saved.
So finally, what's next for you and the ocean cleanup?
Our next major project before doing the device near Japan is what we call the Mega Expedition, in which we will be sailing with 50 boats from Hawaii to California, taking more measurements on plastic in 3 weeks' time than in the past 40 years combined. It will be the largest ocean research expedition in history, and this should learn us exactly how much plastic is in the ocean.
Well, Chanju, I wonder whether his plan will work on such a large scale. Well, what kind of challenges does he face?
When Slat's idea went viral online, many people were skeptical. One critic says his plan to clean up the plastic in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the next several years is unrealistic. Slat says his plan will work even if it takes longer than he had first thought. He claims that a single system could clean up the Pacific Garbage Patch almost completely. But this young entrepreneur faces a number of challenges. They include getting international agreement to install the arrays, obtaining funding, and getting support from governments.
I understand there are many obstacles, but Chanju, what should we do to solve this problem at hand?
Well, Slat suggests deploying smaller systems on rivers. Putting together this report has made me understand how important it is to raise public awareness of this issue. The more people know about this problem, the more effectively we can prevent it. Governments need to play an active role in this regard.
Thank you, Chanju.